Greetings, citizens of Nerdtropolis. Sean Taj here, the mayor of Nerdtropolis, and on this episode of Real Insights, my guest is John Wick director Chad Stahelski, who reflects on the late Lance Reddick. Chad, it's an extreme pleasure to have this opportunity to talk to you, and thanks for answering a question of mine during the Critics' Choice Association conversation.
Great. Thanks, Sean. Pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, John Wick Chapter 4 was my first in-person junket I've ever done, and Lance Reddick was my first in-person interview.
Lance is awesome,
and I had
wasn't
a
he?
memorable time. Yeah, he made me feel at ease, and I was fortunate enough to be invited to the beautiful memorial service actually at the Reddick's home. And unfortunately,
nice.
I didn't get to introduce myself to you, but I learned a lot about Lance that day.
Great human.
Exactly, and I wanted to use this opportunity to ask you about Lance and his portrayal of Charon, which has been a standout and memorable part of the franchise. Can you share some insights about Lance and what he brought to this character? What made his performance as Charon so impactful in all the films?
As you know, we put a layer of Greek mythology on the first movie. That was our whole cool little idea. And Charon obviously is in reference to the ferryman that carries the dead over the river Styx, which was supposed to be our gatekeeper to our hidden world of John Wick inside the Continental. We had hired, obviously Keanu had hired myself and Dave to direct and choreograph the movie. I think I'm trying to think. We just started hiring some of our crew and we were going out to cast. I'm 99% certain Lance was the first cast member that we locked in. We had been talking to Willem Dafoe and a few other people, but Lance was the first one that locked. And I remember that we had sent Lance a script. And again, if you had read the original John Wick script, it was like 78 pages, something about a puppy being killed and a lot of people being shot in the face. It probably wasn't the best pitch script, if you know what I mean. Especially with us putting a layer of Greek mythology over it. And then, he's supposed to be Odysseus and all this stuff. Lance read it. I think in one sitting, we sent him the script and it was less than 90 minutes later. He called back out. Oh, I get it. I'm the fairy. Like he got it like that. And we're like, oh my God, somebody understood. This is great. We love you. Please come help us. He came literally the next week. Lance was awesome. He showed up with the suits he wears in the first John Wick are his. He goes, sometimes because I'm tall and I have broad shoulders, so I just brought my own suits. I think the brown one for this scene, the blue one for this scene. And by the way, I think I'm going to do it with an African accent. And we're like, whoa, come again? He's like, well, what I want to do is be international because your whole movie feels like it's, Mount Olympus and the gods from all over. And I want to represent, an African culture that's transitioned here because I know some immigrants that have come to New York. And like he had this whole backstory planned out. And he was a former John Wick who is now working in a service to redeem himself and all that. He was amazing. And when he got done, this is the first day that we had ever met him. And he had this whole backstory and he'd done all his homework and research. And after that, we're just like, thank God. Because we were first-time directors. So, he gave us the confidence to really push the character. And he made us feel like someone else got the world we were trying to do.
That's great insight. What is the single most important aspect you hope people remember Lance for?
Look, commitment and passion. It's hard to say. I get to work with these guys when the camera's not rolling. I get through months of training and months of rehearsals and stuff. If you could turn that camera around, Ian McShane never leaves a set. Lance Reddick never leaves a set. He doesn't want to miss. He doesn't want to miss anything that might infuse into his character. He doesn't want to miss, having that funny moment with a crew. Him and Keanu, Lance, Lawrence, they like what they do. So when they're always there, they want to see how other actors are playing. They want to see new camera things. They're very interested in the making of a movie process and the experience that they share with the crew that only, when you're on location and spending that much time with people, can you really experience. And I think they truly love it. They love their lives. And that happens a lot to us, but it's very rare that you get people that love it that much, that want to put everything into it. And yeah, when you have an opportunity like John Wick, where I think we all want that out of people and you want to feel that on screen. Look, Lance is let's call him team cheerleader. That guy walks on set and everybody just starts laughing and smiling. He brings a certain energy to set that everybody knows we're not just working, we're making something. And there's a difference if you really get into the meaning of those two things.
No, that's lovely. Thank you so much for the insight on Lance, and John Wick Chapter 4 will always have a special place in my heart.
That's very nice of you to say. Thank you.
Once again, this is Sean Taj, the mayor of Nerdtropolis, and stay tuned for more movie news, reviews, interviews, and trailers.